Hey guys, it's Doug Giles. Welcome back to Billiards of New Orleans. Listen, I know it's been a very long time since I've posted a video, and hopefully, that'll change. And as business picks up with pool tables, I'll be able to put in put up some more videos of doing pool tables. The gun industry, if you're a longtime subscriber, you know that we've kind of moved our business model over to doing a lot of gun holsters for firearms manufacturers. Well, gun sales have been down this year, which may be a good thing, maybe a bad thing. I don't really know. I try not to get into the politics of that kind of stuff. Don't really care to. I just build a product, whatever. Anyway, with gun sales being down and holster sales being down, I'm going back into doing some more pool tables, and I want to, post more videos of us going out and doing more pool tables. So over the next bit of time, you should see more and more videos of us doing pool tables. Anyway, at one point in time, some big brain dude said something to the effect of, "A life not examined is not worth living." Something along those lines. I don't remember the exact quote. If you do, put it in the comments down below. And anyway, I try to do that with my life. I try to reflect back on my life and different situations in my life and figure out if I do things the right way, because I do want to do things the right way, and I want to interact with people in a good way. And that's kind of leading me to this video, because I want to reach out to you guys. I've started doing a few more pool tables since basically coming out of retirement, and I'm not as proficient with the questions that I need to ask people when it comes to doing tables like I used to be. I used to be able to rattle off the proper questions right off the bat, and I just don't do that anymore because I've been so far removed from it now. And I neglected to ask a very important question of a customer last week when they called to get their pool table reassembled. And anyway, a customer called me and they asked me about getting their table reassembled. Said it was a Brunswick table. It's about an hour and a half away from me. No big deal. I gave him a price on it. We agreed on everything. And yesterday morning, get the truck all loaded up, and we drive an hour and a half out into the middle of nowhere to go assemble this table. And it was at what I gathered was a hunting camp. And we get there, and the very first thing I want to do is go look at the table and see what it is I'm dealing with. Look at the room, see, will the table actually fit? And we go inside, and the very first thing I see is 4 pieces of slate laid down flat on the floor, a pile of parts off to the side, that's the frame of the table, a pile of rails sitting off by the door, and on the other side of the room, a couple of boxes. One's got the legs of the table, and the other's got the hardware and accessories. And sure enough, the one question I didn't ask, which is this an antique table? I didn't ask that. And that's exactly what it was. Now, if you've ever dealt with antiques, you know that antique tables, or any kind of antiques, if you go to disassemble it, you're kind of asking for trouble, even under the best of conditions. With pool tables, even more so. And it's even worse when you're talking about a table that's been completely disassembled. You weren't the one that disassembled it, so it's not so much knowing how it goes back together, but did the other guy disassemble it properly? Was all the hardware included with this? Did they break things? And sure enough, they broke things. So it's an antique table. First thing I need to know is all the hardware there? So I go over to the box with all the hardware. The legs are sitting there. There's 4 legs. I start counting through the hardware. All the slate screws are there. I get to the pocket bolts, and I've got pocket bolts missing. Not only do I have pocket bolts missing, I've got one of the pocket bolts that's there has a piece of the pocket still attached to it. Ain't no rest of the pocket there. So, all right, we got a broken pocket. how badly is the pocket broken? So I stop counting the pocket bolts. I stop counting the hardware, and I move over to the pockets, start pulling them out, and I find the one pocket, and no, it doesn't just have one arm of the pocket broken off. It's got two arms of the pockets broken off. Well, where's the rest of that arm? So I turn around, and my helper's there looking at the rails and everything else, and I happen to notice the other part of the pocket is sticking in the rail. They broke it off in the rail. So I look over at, I'm kind of done with counting up hardware. It looks like everything else is there, but I'll get back to that. When I get back to it, no big deal. I already know that things are broken, things are missing. I look at the main body of the table, the frame of the table, and sure enough, there's a big hunk of wood that the leg mounts to. That's broken off. That needs to be re-glued back on. Sitting clamps overnight, that kind of stuff. But then I turn my attention to the slate, and I'm going to put up some pictures here in just a minute. But it's a 4-piece slate table, and 3 out of the 4 pieces of slate were cracked. Not just cracked, but severely cracked, like all the way across. And my helper, who had only been with me to do one other table before, he immediately noticed it. He saw it immediately. So how the customer didn't know that his slates were cracked was completely beyond me. And this is not something that was disclosed to me over the phone. Had I known it, I would have backed out. I would never have done the job to begin with. I would have told him, no thank you, I'm not interested. But this wasn't disclosed to me. I think I said this a moment ago, that the customer even told me that we were going to be we were going to be reusing the existing cloth. And here's a picture here. The cloth that was on it, was backed cloth. Well, I haven't seen backed cloth. They may still make it. I don't know of anybody that does, but I haven't seen backed cloth in more than 20 years. And I'd venture to say that the cloth that was on this table was 30 to 40 years old. Definitely needed to be replaced. Well, the customer didn't tell me that. So, we're dead in the water. I can't put this table back together. And as I'm going over all of this with the customer, I can see his demeanor is kind of changing with me, and going from, I can't really say that he was ever excited to have his table put together, but he did go to much more melancholy, if that's actually the perfect word for it. He just got kind of more somber and more melancholy as I was talking with him. And, I'm trying to explain to him the different problems that this table has, and he starts telling me how the 4th slate had been broken and he had somebody else repair it. And quite honestly, if somebody else repaired it, they were better than me. And because I couldn't tell that this slate had ever been cracked. And, usually when you go to repair slate, you have to use epoxy or something to fill the seam, and then you push it together and you get some squeeze out, and you got to level all that back off. Well, the slates, they're supposed to be perfectly in a line, and when you go to glue them back together, they're almost always, one of them is going to be slightly tilted up, or the other one will be, or they're slightly shifted like this, or like this, or like this, or like this, and they never come out exactly right. And I'm trying to explain this to him, and he says, well, this slate is perfect on here, and the guy repaired it and it's perfect. And I'm thinking to myself, no, this slate, this doesn't look like it's ever been, it looks like a 100-year-old slate. Sure, it's got some chips in it. Looks like it had been filled with plaster of Paris at some point in time, which is extremely common for antique tables, but I could not see any crack in this slate or any repair anywhere on it. And anyway, I kind of got the feeling from the customer that regardless as to what I did, he wasn't going to be happy. And there's a guy I know up in Kansas, in Clay Center, Kansas. All he does is restore antique tables. That's his livelihood. That's all he does. And he knows more about antique tables than I ever will. And I know a fair amount. And when I start running into trouble, when I start running into something that I'm not sure of, I will give him a call. His name is Derek Tiers. He owns Billiard Restoration. I've talked about him before on the channel. He's a great guy, phenomenal resource when it comes to antique tables. Anyway, I called Derek and I'm going over with him, everything that's going on with this table. And Derek tells me, well, if it were me, I wouldn't even touch this job. I said, yeah, I'm kind of in agreement with you. So we discussed all the problems, what the possible remedies are, how much time it's going to take, how expensive this is going to be. And I get off the phone with him and I start to tell this to the customer. And, the customer's not really giving me any kind of feedback other than, well, I appreciate you telling me this. Very blank, very, very, And I asked him, I said, well, if you don't mind me asking you, how much did you pay for this table? He says, I bought it from this antiques dealer out of San Diego. It cost me $4,000 for the table, plus the money that it cost to get it here. And I told him, I said, I really wish that you would have contacted me before you bought this, because I would have told you, I would have advised you not to buy this. And he didn't really say anything. And anyway, I told him, I said, well, look, I'm afraid I'm going to have to punt on this job. I'm not going to be doing this. The table is in too far gone a condition. It's a big, big, big can of worms. This is much more than I'm prepared to work on right at the moment. Well, I understand. And then that's all I got from him. So I told my helper, I said, well, come on, let's go. And as we're going to walk out, I told the customer, I said, what really sucks about this is that I just got finished driving an hour and a half up here. I got to pay my help, and, I got gas and everything. I got to pay my help, and I'm not getting paid anything for this. And he didn't say a word. Not a goodbye, not a, I appreciate your help, I appreciate your, nothing. And just, sucks to be you kind of attitude. That's kind of what I gathered from it. And it really rubbed me the wrong way, because here you just had a professional come, drive an hour and a half out to you, pay for fuel, pay for his help. I had, maybe $100 into, between gas and help and everything, not counting my time, and I got nothing. And I feel slighted, and I'm wondering, and this is where the reflection comes in, and examining myself, and this is why I'm asking myself, well, did I handle this properly? Should I have been more upfront? I kind of felt like if we went through with the installation on this, knowing that it wasn't going to be right when everything was all said and done, we'd have got done with all of this, and he'd have said, I'm wondering, well, would he have said, well, the table's not playable, I'm not paying you? That's happened to me before. It sucks, but it's happened before. Or what if I go to pick up these broken slates and they just, they fall in half on me? Well, now I'm going to sue you because you broke my table. Or I get into it and I say, well, you need this done, this done, this done, this done, this done, and well, you didn't tell me all of that. You didn't tell me all of this to begin with. I'm not paying for all of that, and I'm not paying you for anything unless you do all of this extra work. Had that happen to me before too. Completely unreasonable people. I'm not saying that this guy would have been that way. I just kind of got that vibe. And as we're leaving out, he didn't even offer to pay for my gas, my help, my anything. And I'm wondering, am I looking at this wrong? Because, sorry, don't mean to shake the table here. Am I looking at this wrong? Is my thought process, am I expecting too much out of people? Should I have just sucked it up and, well, that's just part of doing business? Well, sucks to be you because you didn't ask the right question at the beginning. I wouldn't have thought it was necessary to ask somebody, do you have broken slates? I've never asked that question of anybody. So am I wrong here? Let me know in the comments below. Tell me your take on this. On a personal note, I feel like I've, although I haven't put up in, videos in the past couple of years, the videos that I do have out, the monetary value that or the money I've saved people, because I've had millions of views, and I know that maybe, I'm sure millions of people, I'm sure of all of the millions of views that I've had collectively, I'm sure not every single viewer was actually looking to do their own table. But I know it's got to be at least several thousand have, and I know I've saved several thousand people several thousands of dollars each. On the low end, hundreds at least, so that they can do their own tables. And I give away this knowledge, and I don't get much in return. And I went into that. I went into this knowing that I'm, and I don't talk money on this channel. I don't discuss what I charge or anything. But I will be completely open and upfront with you on what I get from this channel. In YouTube revenue, I make about $200 to $250 a month from ad revenue on YouTube. And on all of my videos, I put a link to my website, and in hopes that the people that are looking to do this themselves will find their way to my website and, maybe buy some cloth, and I can pick up a couple of bucks off of that. And, that makes it all worthwhile. But on my website, I might sell one cut of cloth every 3 to 4 months. I ain't setting the world on fire with this stuff. And the amount that I've given far exceeds the amount the amount I've saved people far exceeds the amount that I'm getting back. And I'm cool with that. I'm happy about that. But it really does feel like, well, why the hell am I doing all of this when I run across customers like this that won't even do the honorable thing and offer to pay for the gas that I've put out to go let this guy know that he made a bad decision? Should I have asked that he had an antique table to begin with? Yeah, I probably could have. But even on the questions that I asked, that's not when I used to ask questions, when I used to do more pool tables, it's not typically a question I would have asked. And as far as the broken slates were concerned, I don't see how somebody could miss that. And that is definitely something that should have been disclosed beforehand. The broken pockets, again, same thing. That's something, if you buy something, you go through it yourself. You're the owner. You go through it yourself. And, well, one of these things is not, hell, I learned this stuff in Sesame Street. One of these things is not like the other one. Well, you got 6 pockets here. 5 of them have arms on them that aren't broken. This one has arms that are broken. Part of it is sitting in this bag right here. The other part of it's sticking in this rail. You didn't see that yourself? And if you did, why didn't you disclose that? Again, I can't ask every question. Do people have a responsibility to tell the technician obvious things that are pertinent to the job? And anyway, I don't like asking for donations and stuff like that. I have donations. I have, you know, I've reached the point on with subscribers that I'm allowed to have a donation button on there, and if you feel as though the content that I create is good for somebody asking me about pool today. There's a whole bunch of pictures coming through. Anyway, if you feel as though what I give is of value and you think it's worthwhile, hit that donation button, hit the like button, comment. You know, the likes and the comments, they do wonders for the YouTube algorithm. At least that gets it out to more people, gets the videos that I make, even though they're old videos, they're still pertinent. Those get out there to more people, and that helps with the ad revenue from that. If you feel the need to, if you feel it within your heart to donate, that's great too. I put a PayPal donation button in the description down below, and you know, or if you feel as though you can go to my website and buy cloth or something like that, that's always helpful too. I don't expect something for nothing. I think I give quite a bit, and yeah, I do. I think I give quite a bit. I think I've given back quite a bit, and but on the same hand, I also don't want to. I don't want to be unreasonable with my expectations of people, and if you think I've been unreasonable, if I'm being unreasonably hard on this customer, can't really call him a customer. I didn't get paid anything. But if I'm being unreasonable, let me know that too in the comments, because I am all about making myself a better person and trying to be the best version of me that I can be. Sometimes that follows consensus, sometimes it doesn't. But anyway, if you like what I'm doing here, leave a like and a comment down below, and we'll see you on the next video.